Right. So welcome everyone to another edition of the Candid Talk Podcast. Have with us today someone that I admire so much, someone that I've been following on social media. I got to meet on social media and I've been following all that he does. We have Tunji Andrews today, and then I'm joined by one of our usual panelists, Jibril. Unfortunately, a few of our other panelists couldn't make it today. Something came, they had a few issues come up. Monju and Stanley were not able to make it today. But this promises to be a very exciting episode. So Tunji Andrews is the founder of AWABAH. AWABAH is correct me if I'm wrong, Tunji. AWABAH is a micro pension startup in Nigeria that's aiming to revolutionize the pension, access to pension for what I'll call the informal, this is my understanding, the informal sector. So you're looking at like market women, informal, like welders on the side of the street, and things like, and people like that. So it's looking to cater to such a market. He's also a financial literacy advocate. He's a macro economics thought leader. He's an award winning media personality. He's a busy man. He's a man of many parts. He's also a rapper, by the way.
Oh shit! I don't know who. The thing about that, the profile is somebody put that profile up on the internet some time ago, and I don't know who the person is. And everywhere I go, when I'm introduced by that same conversation, I'm always like, "Oh my god, do we have to go through all of that again?"
I know. So he has. These are facts. So he's an on-air personality with a lot of radio shows across the country, on Classic FM, I think, and Nigerian Info, I think, amongst others. So we're going to be speaking to him today on what does financial literacy mean to Nigeria. I mean, he's someone, he has a startup that is catering to Nigerians, that is trying to drive, in my opinion, financial inclusion in his own way. And he's been a financial literacy advocate for a few years now. So I feel that he's in a good position to actually school us and educate us on what financial literacy is and what it means to Nigerians. So Tunji, I'll first start by asking, what is financial literacy? Because we hear this word being bandied about all the time. I hear it all the time. What does it mean to be financially literate?
So it means a lot of things to many people.
Right.
Financial literacy is a basic ability to have financial understanding of simple things of how money works. And usually financial literacy is personal. It's usually around your personal finances, your personal money habits, your personal upkeep with funds and finances and things like that. So it's about how you're able to save money, how you're able to grow money, how you're able to also maximize the use of the money you have. So you have 100 naira, for instance, and by understanding how the financial system works, there are places you could put in that 100 naira and it will grow. There are places you could put in that 100 naira and just not doing anything, it depletes. And there's some places where it doesn't deplete physically in terms of how much is in it, but it depletes in terms of total value of what it can buy. Because at the end of the day, money is a concept. Money is what you agree that money is. If we all decide today that this pen is money, it becomes money. So we decide that one of this pen is able to buy a car. As long as we all collectively agree that it can buy a car, then it can buy a car. So those are the concepts around financial literacy. But for a lot of times, it starts from just the simple savings, and then it starts to graduate into things like investments, and then legacy savings and trusts, and things like that. But it usually starts from savings, and it's entirely personal for a lot of the conversations.
Okay. So when you say it's entirely personal, that jumped at me. I've never really heard it being put that way. A lot of times when I hear about financial literacy, people just say, "Oh, it's," I think they usually end at the first line that you've said about, the ability to understand how money works and how it can work for you, ability to understand how credit can work for you and stuff like that. But I've actually never heard it being put in the way you put it, which is that personal angle to it. So when you say,
well,
yeah, go ahead. When you say personal,
well, yeah. So you see, the reason is simple. A lot of people confuse the concept of business a lot, and finance and literacy, because to the person looking from outside, everything is the same. So if they say it's a business show,
yeah,
for instance, because I get this a lot because I was very active in the media.
Yeah,
it's a business show. The person automatically believes that the show encompasses everything. So if I want to find out what derivatives are, I can call into a business show to find out what derivatives are. If it's a business show, I can call in to ask what bonds are. But you see, the thing is that unfortunately, a lot of people who then are in the media space don't understand this concept properly.
Yeah.
So that I am an economist gives me a broad's eye perspective to a lot of things, but also because I worked in the capital market. So I'm able to understand the simple differences between bonds, stocks, and things like that. So I understand investments. But also, a financial literacy advocate is someone that teaches you the rudiments of money. How do you save 2 naira to make 7 naira? How do you save, how do you plan for your retirement? How do you save up enough to get that mortgage? How do you take advantage of the system to be able to make sure that it doesn't take advantage of you?
Yeah.
Those are issues around financial literacy, and that's why it is personal. But when you want to start talking about things like derivatives, for instance, I mean, it will be difficult for me to see someone who's an individual who lives a normal everyday life, who's not involved in the financial services sector, to be concerning themselves with derivatives. It's not as if derivatives is rocket science, but it's just not your cup of tea. So narrowing it down to how it affects you in your day-to-day life. So there was an ad we did for the last radio show.
Okay.
Money, business, and economy.
Yeah.
So the jingle was, you hear business news every day, money going up, indices going down, prices going round and round. But what does this mean to your income? And that is what everybody wants to know. And that is really the crux of financial literacy. All these jargons, the government just did this, GDP went there. How does this affect me? That is what financial literacy is really about. All the rest are parts and branches of finance that affect larger issues. Financial literacy in itself is about how the person is able to relate directly with money. And that is why it is the core of financial inclusion, because people who know better have the ability to do better. So in the core of it, yeah, it's entirely personal.
Wow. So correct me if I'm wrong. So what I understand from what you're saying is that it is personal because, like I said, I've never heard it being put that way, but it is personal because it is how, obviously everyone's journey is unique. So it's how the individual kind of like, sort of like, should I say respond? I wanted to say react, but responds to the economic situation or the economic environment around him. because
Exactly.
because individuals are unique, it's so it's because all right, okay, so it's because of the fact that individuals uniquely have unique circumstances, and as such the way they react to the economy around them will be best tailored to them. So that's why financial literacy is
It's personal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. So can I just ask then, moving on to then my next question, why do you care so much about financial literacy? Why? Yeah, honestly, what was it? Because you're definitely not the only economist. Surely not. Obviously, we're a country of millions. There are many people like yourself who are in the space that you are, who just want to who are concerned about just getting their own bread, as we say. I just get getting ahead in life, and I don't begrudge them. I don't begrudge them at all. So my question is, why do you care so much about financial literacy? What's behind what pushes you?
Okay, so
what pushes you?
I think the first thing, I think it spans from when I first entered the capital market, and it was confusing. You could literally be in a room where people were speaking English and you had no clue what they were talking about. They're saying things like the trajectory, the year-on-year growth of the inverse AUM is. I'm like, yo, what are you guys talking about? And as I started to learn, I started to even be more confused. So why can't you guys just speak English? As in, really, why? I mean, it really kill you. You speak English everywhere else. Why don't you speak English here? And I realized that it almost felt like if you spoke English, your money you spent on your education was wasted. If you were not given those terms and those acronyms, people will not feel that this guy knows what he's talking about or this woman knows what she's talking about. So it started just with me just being fed up with people being confused about the very easy conversations and me trying to explain it to them. And I think one of the largest parts where I think the love itself pretty much blossomed was when Nigeria rebased its GDP. I mean, I've been doing those conversations for a while, and my conversations were really top-level conversations. I was talking about Nigeria's trajectory, how we could Nigeria could have joined the BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Yeah, and then South Africa joined them at some point and became BRICS. And then we're saying that Nigeria should join them to BRICS.
To become BRICS. Yeah. I remember that.
So those were my conversations at the time. But then the GDP thing happened. And for me, I was like, yo, it's GDP. I mean, like, it's not a serious issue.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, we're the largest economy in Africa. Oh, they're lying. And I was like, yo, guys, calm down. What's going on? And it was Twitter. Twitter is not like it used. Twitter now is not what it used to be. It used to be a lot more. It used to be a lot more intellectual back in the day. So you kind of feel this is an intellectual class that is this confused about a simple subject. So I remember saying that day, I was like, you know what? After I'm done with my meetings this morning, I would explain what this GDP means. And I spend the next 3 months explaining it regularly. So somebody else will come after they see the thread, they will not be like, please, no vex. This thing, how does it, And largely it's started to become one radio station would invite, please come and explain it to us. We don't get it. TV station would invite. And I just started, and I somewhere deep down, I know I like to teach. I have taught in the past. I will teach in the future. So I kind of just enjoyed the teaching. And after that point, I realized there was so much people just did not know. And it wasn't like it was hidden from people. It was right there, you know? But unfortunately, people in the financial system make it hard for people outside to understand it. I don't know if it is a deliberate act. I think it is deliberate. But either ways, the financial services system is built to keep people out, you know, from understanding the basics of finance. So I just felt, you know, I would continue to, you know, share my thoughts on it. And then one radio station calls me and says, "Hey, could you do this for us?" And I'm like, I'm not sure I have the time. They're like, it's only 15 minutes, 6:45 to 7 a.m. Just come in before you go to work. You know, I'm like, okay, are you going to pay me? They say, yeah, definitely. I'm like, okay. And why would I not do it? And that was Smooth FM. We did that for a bit. Then what's the name? Classic FM and Lagos Talks 2 were like, yo, let's do this. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then Nigerian Info comes and like, yo, in Danny TV, I did in Danny TV for some time. Bloomberg Africa also called at some point. But in all of it, it was just me trying to explain very basic things, you know, because in the finance world, what I'm explaining is not very deep. It's like I'm still just explaining the basics, you know, but I just also realize how much of a problem those basics are. And it's just a thing, you know, and if there's nobody that's going to do it, there's no help, there's no hope, you know. I wish, because now that I'm dropping the core of radio financial literacy behind, I kind of wished I mentored a lot of people to take over, but I think there are many more people doing it now. Although not in mainstream, they're doing it as businesses. My very good friend, Tosi Olasende with Money Africa, she's doing it also now, and quite a few other people. I wish I'd put more people on radio to be doing this, because it just needs, you know, it's just those feedback that you get from time to time of people saying things like, yay, I almost put my money in this team. Thank you. You know, those kind of things. It's always, I remember I was at the beach one time and this guy and his wife, it was Yuletide season. And he came up to me and he was like, Tunji Andrews. I was like, yeah, you know, you're never really sure with the person who is saying your name is. You don't know if he's, I know. You don't know if he's SSS or something. They want to carry you down. So you're be careful. You're like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah, who's asking?
And then the guy was like, yeah, you know, like, oh, that he listens to my show from the Netherlands or something.
Oh.
I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, that he that's the way he connects to Nigeria's economy from the Netherlands. And I'm like, wow. Like, thank you for, you know, coming up to say this, because yes, this feels good. You know, so I think we've done a bit, but there's still a lot more to be done, especially with the latest explosion of scam platforms all over the place. I wish we could do more. But right now, I think we at least with our AWABAH, our product is one that is tied to financial literacy. So we will be doing some of that, but I wouldn't entirely be the face of it anymore as I used to be, because now it's a company, you know, but yeah, we'll still do what we can.
Wow. That's very important, because I think one of the things that you said that struck me was about the reason, because I've worked in financial industry here too for a few years now. And you're right. And it's something that actually here in the financial industry in the UK, they're actually daily fighting against, you know, the use of jargons, reduce the use of jargons, reduce the use of jargons, you know, be able to have a conversation with the person on the street on how money works. And they're actually working towards it, which is, you know, credit to them. There is far less use of jargons than there used to be like 10 years ago. And people like Virgin Money, people like Richard Branson, he came and, he just started using everyday language when he entered the money space as well and stuff like that. He likes to he likes to shake up things as well. So I'm just curious, could it be, because I've actually thought about it myself, could the reason why the financial industry kind of wraps everything up in jargon, could it be because they are sort of trying to preserve their area of specialization? Because if you're known for something, right? If you're a specialist in an area, you want to keep that advantage, don't you? So I mean, could it be that it's not necessarily like it's an untoward, they're not trying to hide something. It's not like some conspiracy theory that they're trying to hide something, hide information from the people, but they're actually.
Or is it just a higher level of education that one was attained at a certain point? My point is this something that can easily be generalized, or something that you must have attained a particular status or a particular educational background before you welcome into that particular space?
Exactly. So could you I was just going to say, could it be what I've just said, or could it be what Jibela just said, or the fact that they're actually trying to say, you know what, if we make it simple for everyone, that's what they think. If we make it simple for everyone, then why would people want to come to us again? I don't know.
Learn about it.
Yeah.
That could be it. Yeah. That could be it. Another thing about it is, so there's an exam you write to be, there's an exam that, like the accounting, the ICAN, or the ACCA of the financial world, CFA.
CFA, yeah.
So CFA is pretty much preparing you to be a asset manager, chief economist, kind of like that, to be able to look at funds and manage wealth, investment officer, things like that. And it's a very hard exam to pass. All the models are very, very difficult.
Aren't they just like 200,000 people or something? Like
very difficult. I mean, I've seen I've seen guys who have started and, they'll try this first time, second time, third time, failed, and they'll be like, it's not really necessary to do this thing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. But you see, the thing is, in the real truth of it, right?
Yeah.
You don't go to school to learn how to trade. I know people are going to kill me for this right now. And somebody's going to tell me I'm ignorant. Because I'm going to say this in this way. I think the most I learned was really around experience. So, this apprenticeship system.
Yeah.
You take a boy from the village, you bring him to Lagos, and you put him at the store, and he learns how to. Honestly, that can work in the capital market. And I'm not even joking. The person can speak English. You bring the person from the village, you bring the person to Lagos. The person doesn't know anything, starts working at normal client services. And then the person is diligent. The person can learn the ropes all the way to the top. Because a lot of these things are better understood for a lot of the people in the financial services industry by actually experiencing them. The only way you can best talk about a crash is being in a crash.
Yeah.
The only way you can talk about dividends is if one was just issued. So the next time a dividend is issued, you know the ropes, you know what happened the last time, you know how to explain it. A company just went public, an IPO. You saw the last one happen. You experienced it with your team. It's the way many people learn how to do these things. So people realize that the difficulty to get in wasn't all that necessary.
Right.
It wasn't as necessary as they thought, It wasn't like it put them on one magical pedestal. because a guy who is diligent and is, putting his eye to the ground and just has a BSc could know as much as you do.
Yeah.
Should get.
Yeah.
So one of the ways to be able to, and the great thing about it, hires are still done based on years of experience. And the reason why years of experience is crucial in the financial services sector more than anywhere else is that if you've been in the financial services sector for 10 years, for instance, you would have done some M&As, you would have done some, underwritings, you would have seen how this person did that, you would have experienced it over the 10-year period.
Yeah.
So it's really not about what you went to school to learn, which of course is like that for many, institutions. So how do we keep the what's that word now? The mystery around our industry.
How do you demystify?
We use a lot of acronyms. We use a lot of acronyms.
I love it.
So
buzzwords.
Exactly. So it's all about the buzzwords, and those buzzwords make no sense. So I say year on year. Why am I saying year on year? I could just say yearly. It means exactly the same thing, but one makes sense. The other doesn't. It's it's just too many things. It's too many. And one of the things I learned immediately I entered the space was whenever I spoke to people and they were like, "What does this thing mean?" And I'm like, "This is what it means." They're like, "Oh, why didn't you just say so?"
Exactly.
Well, I did.
Why didn't you just say it?
I said, "Well, I did. You just didn't understand what I was saying." And it's that thing. It's that thing. Financial literacy across the world. It's a problem. And that's why I'm pretty impressed with the millennial, and lower move to try and demystify the conversations. Yeah. The older guys don't like it. The older guys still want to have it be, AUM,
very exclusive.
56 basis, 3 basis points, 300 basis points. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
What's the need for it? There's no need.
I don't get it. I'm still here. Maybe somebody will tell me like in a couple of years, but I don't get it. I'm tired of it, but in Nigeria, we seem to be doubling down on it. If we're not doing it, and there's even in the presentations, it's like the guy comes and is in front of the board, and then he's, so if you look at Q3, and I'm like, okay. And
if I may ask, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And when they come on my radio show, and we're talking, sometimes I get carried away because I understand what he's saying or she's saying.
Yeah.
Because they're speaking all those economic speak.
Yeah.
Then in the middle of it, I catch myself and I'm like, yo, my listeners won't get what he's talking about. And we're just jargon in here. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Then you now realize that they really can't explain it. They say if you can't explain something to a 2-year-old, you don't understand it. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, so what when you say, okay, could you explain what that is? Then you ask the person, go back, and the person like, so it's like, you kind of get that the person has found comfort in those buzzwords and never really dug deep to find out what those buzzwords actually mean. So they themselves don't really fully understand the concepts of what they're saying. So it's a problem. And you want to also think about the fact that these are the people you trust with your money.
Exactly. I think it's that thing again. I know it is scary. Yeah. It's scary. I think it's that thing about Nigeria and our rote education. The whole we cram to learn. We just cram at uni. So if they say AAA is what you need to know, you don't care to know why is AAA. We don't ask one question. We don't ask in Nigeria, and it was beaten and punished. punished out of us is why we it was beaten out of us and punished out of us. You know, that concept of asking why. So I think we'll be socialized to that point that we're now adults and we're just like, when people ask why, you look at them funny, like, why are you asking why? It's just how it works. Yeah.
Just exactly. That's it.
Just get on with it. Sorry, Jibril, you wanted to say something. Jibril.
Yes, I wanted to ask Tunji, based on his experience and relating with people, regular people in quotes, we don't have an access to the buzzwords and all the fancy things around financial literacy. I wanted him to just explain to us why it is important from both a social standpoint and economic standpoint for majority of people that are living in this economy, to have the financial literacy in terms of what that long-term can contribute to us socially and also economically.
So,
very good question.
There are multiple layers to this. There are multiple layers to this question. Very, very good question. And I'll start from the last mile, which is another buzzword we created. And it just means the poorest of the poor. So for those people, they understand a few things. And this is another, this is a wider conversation that I've started to have with a lot of people in the sector. So when we say financial inclusion, what we are trying to say is we want people to use the financial system that we created. They have a financial system. They have your Isusu, they have your Ajo, they have your woman that carries a big book with a bag around her neck. So they understand that. So in the terms of, I buy 1 barrel for 5 naira, I sell it for 750, they understand that. Unit economics, they understand it. Why they should understand financial literacy is really around the leverage of money. Understanding the use of money is different from understanding the leverage of money. So Aliko Dangote is the richest man in Nigeria, at least on official numbers. But Aliko doesn't use his money to build everything he's built it. He's just built a refinery. Everybody's falling over themselves to be part of the refinery right now. He probably put maybe 1/10 of his money into that thing. Maybe, I don't even know if it's up to 1/10.
Yeah.
He got banks and everything to fund it. Now NNPC has bought shares. Everybody's, falling over themselves to give money. That is the leverage of money. A lot of people in that lower of the lowers don't understand this leverage. I was just talking to a woman who is in the log industry. So basically people who fell trees.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
lumber.
Yeah.
So she fell trees and she sells them. She cuts them up and then she sells them. She's been doing this for the last maybe 30 years or so. Her daughter, was talking to me and, the daughter was saying that, she just found out her mom was just stashing money in a savings account. She was like, yo, you're wasting money. Like she now had to, go to the bank, force them to create a high yield, high interest bank account for her. And she said the woman sent her to school based on, business in this log making industry, this lumber industry.
Yeah.
But you see, this woman can do a lot more with the kind of inflow she does. She can build multiple industries with that leverage. She can, have multiple houses with that leverage. She could set her daughter up to do many more things with that leverage. But she just understands collect, keep, use and buy. Collect, keep, use and buy. And that is a very linear way of, one-dimensional way of thinking about money. There's the use of money, there's the leverage of money. There's also debt, how you can use debt to really grow what you have. Because a lot of Nigerians are poor. And many of them do a lot of cash flow. So the woman that is selling Ogi, you know, she keeps, I don't know, 500 naira with the Ajo woman every month. You know, she saved a little bit of that. That is enough for her to be able to get access to credit of maybe 100,000 naira. But because she doesn't know how money works, she can't go and get access to that. What she'll rather get is a loan shark who is going to charge her maybe 6-7% per month. And then she gets stuck because she can't pay back after a while. While really she could actually get maybe 19% per annum from a bank and pay with ease. So you see, there's how that money works is very important for a lot of people. Right now, we've just seen the entry into the country of loan apps everywhere. Yeah. Now, the second layer of that is the pay small. Those ones have just entered. You guys that are outside the country know what credit scores are. Yeah. A lot of Nigerians don't know that there is a credit score yet. Many of them are going to borrow money from these people. They can't pay back because the interest rates are too ridiculous. And then they just, right now, those companies are using the name and shame system, but also sending your name to the registry, you know? So you have a bad rap in the financial services sector. You don't know, you're destroying your future, basically, just because you collected 6,000 naira. 6,000 naira. Think about it. Imagine. So there's so much happening that people are taking advantage of people. Savings accounts. There's no reason why our savings account should be buried 1% per annum. But the central bank says that's what they want to do. I tell you, you can't keep your money in a savings account. You need to put it somewhere else that will beat inflation. If you don't know this, you would keep it there. At least my money is in the bank. I remember the linear way most people think about money: collect, keep, spend. They're actually getting poorer. They're getting poorer that way. So the reason for financial literacy is that it, one, exposes you on how to use money. Then it also helps you avoid those things that make you poor. Inflation, devaluation, effects of it. So you're able to actively avoid those things. For people who are earning a lot more, they are lucky because their earning power may be able to, it's like gravity. Gravity is pulling you down, but you have jet propellers under your shoes. They're pushing you upwards. You know, your decent salary is what is keeping you in the air. But gravity keeps trying to pull you back down. Gravity in this context is like inflation and devaluation and all of it, trying to make you poor. Now, imagine people who don't have those jet skis, what gravity is doing to them. It's not only keeping them grounded, it's also trying to pull them into the ground.
Sure.
Wow. You know, so that is the reason why financial literacy is very, very important for everybody, not just the last mile, but for everybody. It's different levels of understanding what it should be doing for you. And the biggest case is use of money. If you don't know how to use money, wow, Nigeria is not for you.
and there's something you just said. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Because I wanted to
No, go ahead.
Okay, there's something you just said there's something that you said as part of that example of the woman that does. By the way, you could use login because you see, I just caught myself doing the same thing we were criticizing just now. When I said lumber, the Nigerians don't. It's lumber is more an American term, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just caught myself doing exactly what we're criticizing. So please, let's use the login as yes. So the woman that deals with the login, that example is so powerful for me because the way you've explained it, not only does it help her, but you see, the whole concept is that the economy gains more when there's more financial activity. So
exactly.
When she leverages,
because one financial activity births another one, which births 3, which births 4, which births 6.
So imagine if she was like, yo, because from what I hear, she has a lot of money stashed up that she don't. I mean, she doesn't need it. Right? Like
that's dead capital, essentially.
You get. So it's the kind of things where she could even say, what's the laziest form of investment? Okay, she builds like, I don't know, like 20 houses across the country and is just taking rental income for it. She builds the house. The people who are going to build the house are going to gain money from building the house. The people who are going to rent the house are going to be able to have houses to rent. She's going to pay taxes to the government. That is just economic activity multiplied on several levels. So she wouldn't know she needs to do that if she's not being told she needs to do that. Because for her, looking at that stash in the bank account, there are people who, I'm sure you must have heard about people who just check their account balance once in a while and just smile and just drop their phone like, yeah. I think it's
good.
I think it's probably one of the most stupid things to do.
Yeah.
Because if you ask people like Aliko, Dangote, and the rest, I'm not sure they have up to 50 million in their bank accounts.
100%.
You know, it's like the real cash is stored up in assets, because that's the way you know. Because there's this thief that is like trying to steal your money, and it's called inflation. It's regularly, it's taking at your money on a regular basis. So keeping it and looking at it regularly is just a very stupid move. So you have to think about that. And those are the concepts of financial. And people like Aliko, they don't get to where they are without knowing all these things.
Yeah.
They don't get it. After a while, you kind of realize that you even walk up to them and say, Alaji, please, can you give me like 2 million there? And he's like, yo, man, I don't have any cash. And you're thinking, this guy is stingy. Just 2 million. 2. And you're billion. And he's telling you the truth. He doesn't have the cash. He has assets. And the whole reason why you want to keep money in assets is because of those kind of 2 million, those 2K, please give me 2K there. So because you know that before you go, exactly. So before you go, liquidate it, the process. So you're like, I don't have. It's easier that way.
And it's true. It's so true. So can I just ask another question? So, what is there a relationship, right? How do I put this? Is there a relationship between financial inclusion? Because I was just looking at the figures. Apparently, about 115 million Nigerians are now banked, right? I think I read that on Nairametrics. I don't know. I think it was figures based off of NIBBS. I don't know.
NIBS, yeah.
Yeah, NIBS.
Yeah.
Okay. Another acronym there.
Okay. I know.
Right. So, is there a direct relationship between a level of financial inclusion and financial literacy? Does financial inclusion increase financial literacy, or does it do nothing really to financial literacy? Just because I have this conversation a lot. The reason why I'm asking this is because a lot of times when I hear people having a conversation about financial literacy, the first thing they talk about is, we have an exclusionary, or we have a system that excludes a lot of people from the financial system. But the way you've described financial literacy today, kind of like leads me to believe that. So I'm not going to preempt your answer, but I'll just ask.
So it's actually the other way around.
Okay, Jibril wants to add to it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. To add to it, to give it a branch, because, for example, the financial institutions that Tunji was practically telling us to be wary of in terms of the regular banking system and whatnot, where people, that's what people normally would think of when it comes to, I have some cash, I have some money, and what to do with it. I don't think they do enough in terms of making people see different angles to it. That's financial literacy itself, which money can actually work for them. So my question will be two-pronged, and it's an addition to what Bane said. Is it a responsibility of government? Is it a responsibility of financial services? Or is it a responsibility of, social service people like NGOs and people like yourself to actually go about educating people? And answering that question will also answer some parts of the second one, which is, at what level do you think is best for financial literacy? Something we need to imbibe in our traditional educational system. And at what level do you think will make will have the largest form of propagation? Or is it something that we want to educate people socially through mediums like apps, having casual conversations, or speaking to groups, agile groups and whatnot.
So the questions are basically.
I know I wrote them down.
Cool,
Yeah.
Cool.
The first question is, does financial inclusion increase financial literacy? I think it's the other way around. Financial literacy actually is what improves financial inclusion. So I remember the beginning of cashless Lagos, when the CBN said it wanted to push financial inclusion to 80%. So it decided that it was going to roll out a campaign. And of course, I'm going to ask all the questions because all the questions are interlinked. Yeah. And it was going to roll out a campaign and get everybody, included. But there was a problem. In this plan, they didn't decide whose responsibility it was to financially educate people. The banks felt it was CBN's job. CBN felt the banks are the ones that have the product, so they should do it. So eventually nobody did it. So what we have right now is that we have people outside selling products, not financially educating people. So they sell products with incentives rather than actually make people understand why they should use those products. So I come into a market and I promise everybody in the market loans. And I tell them, all you have to do is open an account with our bank. Just use the account, and anybody that has tried to get a loan from Nigerian bank knows what I'm talking about. They say, just be, let the account be, doing transactions for some 6 months.
6 months, 1 year.
Then we'll give you a loan. Yeah, 6 months, 1 year, we'll give you a loan. He knows or she knows what she's saying is bullshit. Forgive my French. No. But the person needs to sell accounts. The person needs to open accounts for their job to be secure. So the person dangles the carrot. You fall for it because you need to be, you now be actively letting money pass through the account. Then you now get to that point, you now realize, you now go to them and say, I want a loan. You now realize that passing money through the account, it's a small part of it, but it's not the real reason they give you the loan. You're not wondering, why did I waste all that time? So we have people selling products. We have nobody financially educating people. The people who are financially educating people also have started to monetize financial education. So join my class. I'll teach you how to make money.
Yep.
I don't think this is a bad thing. And of course, a laborer is worthy of his wages.
Absolutely.
But you see, a nation cannot grow with monetized financial literacy. It can't grow with monetized financial literacy. Monetized financial literacy is, I want to learn about crypto. Where can I go to learn? Oh, there's a course on so app or so website I can pay for and learn about crypto. Or I want to learn about derivatives. There's a place I can go to and learn about derivatives. So that is how paid financial literacy can work. But when it comes to Mukaila in Mushin, who is a barber in his local area, doesn't have a bank account, uses his, he saves it under his mattress or something. Mukaila is not going to pay you 10K to come out. Learn what? As in how? How are you going to do that? So paid financial literacy is for the elites who are trying to expand their financial knowledge. Financial literacy in itself as a national conversation needs to be a policy issue. I mean, some of us have been doing it for free for years. I used to have something on Twitter called the Money Masterclass back in the day, where every Saturday I'll just take a topic and share stuff.
I remember that. I remember that.
And, you know, for me, a lot of the time I was like, you know, I didn't want to be the only one doing that. I felt there should be many people, but at some point I had to stop because I felt I was now becoming the one that was, you know, when everybody had any money issue, they'll come to me. It's like, I'm not the Jesus of financial issues, right? I'm just trying to share, you know. Then to the question of what level, what the financial industry gives us is the ability to multiply wealth. There is different levels of the financial industry. So there's the informal financial industry. And when I say the informal financial industry, I'm talking about, let me even start from our Igbo brothers. He brings somebody from the East, the person comes to Lagos, he teaches the person learns how to, you know, do the business, you know, raises that competence level in the area of inventory, product procurement and things like that. Also elevates their level of understanding in terms of marketing, sales. Then they now even start to do international trade where they start to even get the products from outside Nigeria. But you see, the most amazing part of this system for me is that system where when he's now, they call it freedom. Yeah. When he's now about to go free,
and the right to live,
you crowdfund and give him cash. That's like VC funding. That's the craziest form of VC funding ever.
I know.
Where the VC teaches you how to do the business, then gives you money to go and do the business.
Money to get to the business.
You know, that's madness.
Incredible.
It's like, so that is a part of the financial services industry that we need to cultivate and grow. There is also the area where market women, market people have for years and years, how they get to pay for things. So they want to pay for a shop, they want to rent a new house, they want to buy a new machine. They have the ajo, alajo. Yeah, I know that's what it's called in the Yoruba parlance.
Yeah. The
alajo who comes with a bag, collects money, and at the end of the month, the alajo takes one of the contributions. So if you're contributing every month, every day, so 30 days, then the alajo will take 1 day of your contributions as the payment. Then you take 29 days, you know? That is financial industry. But you see, why the financial services industry works is that it is a larger pool of money coming in, but then it enables my money that came into this bank account, service you to go and do your project. Then you bring money back, you pay the bank is still able to give me some interest rate on top of the money I just put down. So wealth is built more with that larger pool. And you know, if I'm able to look at billions, it's easy for me to allocate thousands.
100%.
As against I'm looking at thousands and people want me to allocate thousands. You get? 100%. So at that level, we want those people to bring their trade, which is in billions of naira on a weekly basis, by the way. Wow. We want their trade to come into the financial out. Let me show you how I know. So there's one of these payment systems. They are they're like a flutterwave, but more like they're more focused on informal payments, right. Agency banking.
Okay.
So I was talking to the CEO of one recently, and he showed me his transactions for the month. I was like, yo, are you sure we should still continue with this AWABAH?
I collect the real bar.
And collect the real bar. Because this is what we're doing. We're working for humanity. In the real sense of it. Should we just go and collect? Because I saw he he had processed payments of over 1 trillion naira.
Wow.
Over 1 trillion naira.
In what time? Is that from when he is
in that week?
What?
Wow.
And this is entirely for markets, Computer Village, Akpobon, Alaba, those kind of markets. Just those simple, I want transfer money, give this person, give me this amount. You know, I want withdraw 10,000 naira. Person had done 1 trillion naira.
Wow.
We want that money in the financial services space. I like that the fintechs are doing well. Although I have a problem with the way the fintechs want to do it. Everybody's trying to create their solutions on their own. Although I'm glad that a few guys are now trying to harmonize those services, transaction flows.
Yeah.
Because we need those flows to be maybe not aggregated to one place, but at least let's be able to see the money going in the sector so that we can know what we can allocate to people. That is how we can create more wealth. So in that thinking is that I know that 100 billion goes through a particular place in Agege every week. 100 billion. I know that 100 billion circulates in that Agege area. So I can now deploy more financial services products to that place. To the people that are doing these financial products, I can go and issue them things like retirement savings. I can go and issue them things like long-term loans, leases, credit cards. I can go and issue them things like, mortgages. I could do many things because I know these people have the money. And that is why I think financial inclusion is important. That is the biggest reason why I think financial inclusion is important. It's not just because I want people to know about money. But if we aggregate our money together, it is better for all of us as a whole.
Yeah.
You get? Because if you know some of those, I was in an accelerator recently, and there's a startup that was talking about, so the startups, it's a credit score system. What the credit score system is, they go to markets and track people's spending and are able to create a credit score for them based on it. They're not in Nigeria anyway, they're in Uganda, I think. Wow. But the thing I was amazed about, because he did a pitch, at a point, and he was saying that the woman has not been able to gain access to more than $30 loan since with 10 years banking, 10 years doing using M-Pesa. But her transactions show that she should be at least able to get $1,000 in credit.
Wow.
But because there's nobody aggregating all those, she does M-Pesa today, she does this one tomorrow, she does this.
There's no way to measure. Yeah.
Exactly. Measure
data collection.
Those kind of things. So that is what the financial industry really, really does for you. All of us come together, we have a BVN, we can, check across the banks that you do business and we say, we can give you 2 million. Or we can give you 100,000. That is what the system needs. I need to be able to say, I want to get a house. I do enough transactions to not pay 30% equity contribution. I should just go and collect the key. I do enough transactions to go and just collect the key. That is what I believe is financial. So in the question is, nobody's taking charge of financial inclusion. Nobody. And financial inclusion is financial literacy, nobody's taking charge of it. Financial literacy is what spurs financial inclusion, because it's me knowing that makes me do better, And then on the level, for people like us, we're just recycling our financial inclusion, our financial systems. It's those people at the bottom of the ladder that are doing heavy loads of cash that we need to bring and make this pool bigger for all of us.
So what you just explained now is just so sensible to me that I wonder why the players in the industry are not doing anything about it. Because what you just said, okay, so if financial literacy leads to, which makes sense, it makes logical sense that if I know more about the benefits of something, I'm going to do more. I'm going to
gravitate towards it.
Exactly. I'm going to participate more in it. Now, why aren't they doing more of it? It's just.
I'll tell you why. It's simple. It's simple. It's also the reason why I came to do AWABAH.
I was going to ask you about AWABAH as well. Like, what's been your experience?
AWABAH was a main frustration for me in terms of why is micro pensions not moving? Why the hell do we have 35 million people without retirement savings and nobody's pushing it? Nobody sees it as a product to push. And I kept saying it, and at some point, I think I was somewhere someday, and I was, saying it to somebody, and I was really feeling like I was dropping points. And the person says, "Why don't you do it?" I'm like, well, and it never left me until we created the product. But I'll tell you why. The financial services industry thinks in profit and loss. Profit and loss in yearly basis. So I'm thinking, if I'm going to spend 30 naira on this, I must be able to get 20 naira, or at least, I must be able to get at least 30 naira back if I'm not going to get 50 naira. But you see, the heavy lifting Nigeria's in this underbanked and unbanked need is not the money that you're going to reap tomorrow. It's going to take years and years of sowing, watering the seed, digging up the ground. It's going to take years and years. Nobody wants to do that. So everybody is looking for the safe products. Now, if you think about it, there are so many products banks have released that were good, but because it didn't gain traction, they shut it down. We won't keep pumping money into something that is not generating income. But leave it on the market. Let it continue to be there. So let me tell you the major difference between AWABAH and every single PFA in the world. I'm not even just saying Nigeria, in the world.
World, wow, okay.
Is that we explain what you are even putting your money into. You know how ridiculous what I just said sounds? That we explain what you put your money into. That's how simple it is. Because a pension is, if I'm working in a 9 to 5, is the HR person that says who my pension fund is. Is the HR person. So the pension fund goes to the HR, convinces the HR signs up everybody in the company. But as a self-employed person, there's no HR. I have to agree that I want to put my money with you. Now, why am I going to put my money with you for the next 20, 30 years? And I'm not going to collect it? Come on. Tell me another thing, even if it is jazz.
Wow.
Now, the person who is selling this product thinks there's no way to convince this person, but there is. Explain to the person, elevate the person's financial understanding to where the person realizes how important it is to have a financial plan towards their retirement. Because if there's any time you need money most in your life, is when you retire. When you not have the power to hustle anymore, your health would have deteriorated. You would probably need to have the best healthcare. That is when you will not be able to eat anything anymore. The doctor says you can't eat salt. You can't eat beef. You must eat a certain kind of fish. That is expensive.
Expensive lifestyle.
That is when you need money the most. And this is simple logic. But the problem is, I'm not going to spend money explaining this to these guys. Why? So what would the banks rather do? To them, it pays them to get and I don't say this as any slight to him, to an Olamide, for instance, to come and say, use so bank, just open a bank account and more they go.
Yeah. You might win a Toyota. You might win a
they've not educated them, they've not done anything, they've not improved them, they've just sold a buzz to them that will wither away. But all they need is the metrics of people who have opened more bank accounts so they can say they won with that campaign. End of story. But the real work gets you the real money. Because if I educate you and I tell you, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, there is obviously the possibility that you might not choose my product, right? But if I sell to 30 people, the chances are that half of them will sign up with me. So at least I know that the half of conversions are going to come to me. And those conversions, after I've converted them, it's easier for them to continue paying because they understand why they should continue paying.
Yeah.
I don't now have to come with promos every 3 months. No. Hey, this something bank promo. Save up to 50,000 naira every month, and you will win a jet car in the something promo to back.
And a keg of granite oil.
That's the reason why they do that, brothers. Because they know the people who are saving with them don't know why they are saving with them. Wow. So you're incentivizing them to bring their money, tempting them, lying to them, because you are going to pre-select people who are going to win it anyways. So for me, it's a problem. It's a problem. So when I journeyed into AWABAH, the first thing was people should know why they should save for their retirement.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized people don't care.
People just want now. They just want to survive.
Man, retirement is far.
It's far.
Do you know how retirement is far?
Man, it's long. It's long. Long, bro.
That's far, man. I might be dead by then. That's how far retirement is. Who cares about retirement? But our job has simply been to make it vivid. We're coming out with some things in the near future. We're rolling them out. Unfortunately, technology is not like brain power. Technology, you have to build upon build. Left to me, the product I have is, the things I want to roll out.
It's ready.
It's ready.
It's ready to go.
But the technology to do it is coming bit upon bit. So our app is coming out in a couple of weeks, and that will be the first layer. Immediately the app comes out, the version 2 is ready, because the product for the version 2, all the partnerships are set up. It's just for us to do that.
Okay.
I realized quickly some things. Money is good. Money is good. It's a fantastic concept.
Yeah.
But I think I asked myself the 5 whys one particular day. Why do people want money? And I said, because they want to buy stuff. Why do they want to buy stuff? Well, so that they can have those stuff. This looks like a very stupid line of thought, but just bear with me.
Yeah, no.
But why do they want to have those stuff? Because think about it. How many of the stuff that we have do we really use? Well, because they want to show other people those stuff. But why do they want to show other people those stuff? Well, because they want to let other people believe they're better. And it just made sense to me. Why selling a pension product on just the basis of it being a pension product will never sell? Because there is no incentive for me to
Incentive.
save for retirement. How do I brag about a retirement product?
How do I pay them?
How do I show off my retirement product? How do I say, yo, I just save money, like, yo, I just save. It doesn't help me. I can brag with piggy vest. You know, piggy vest is like the fun thing in town.
Yeah.
My piggy vest. You know, you can say you see people tweet about it from time to time. You know, hey, I just checked my piggy vest account, balance, and already my heart. Understand human psychology there. It's not the money that's really making them, it's the ability to brag about it. So it kind of shows you that people don't care about their future as much as they should. So you have to do two things. One, make the future as vivid as possible, that it could also be you, that it could end up in that poor state, but also make it a lifestyle. Make it something useful. Make it something around their lives. Build it around their day-to-day.
You have children. Have you got children abroad? You know, you could go visit them on your own instead of depending on them. You could go on holidays.
You know, you have to sell that dream. And that is what we decided, you know, but I also realized that you have to really care about these people to think this deep about it. You know, because you think about, all you just start thinking about is gimmicks, marketing plans. So what should we do? Should we call Olamide or should we call Whiskey? Who should we, or Yabojo? Who should we get to do this promo? And once we do that, we know we're going to get signups. We know, but the signups are going to churn. Then we'll now have to start doing it again and start another. Okay, now we've done the Yabojo. Who should we do now? You know,
should we get RMD since it's like
RMD is like, you know, if it does that, is deep voice something in the when your money is let's do like RMD. Let's
top ed phone.
That money, spend it teaching people. You won't have to do any more publicity on them for life. They now understand. The products are there anyways. There's nothing you're going to look for on the internet that is not there, but you have to put them on the path to start with. Let them even start chasing the money, the conversations themselves, and start thinking, yay, see, I've wasted my life, you know, on, I don't have any money. I really don't have any money. You know, I want to blow, yes, but what if I don't blow? You know, what if I don't blow? It's the musicians I have a bigger passion for.
Yeah.
Artists and things like that. They get very big, they make a lot of money. And after that, they have nothing to fall back on and they all start living very average lives. So just turn to Yahoo.
Sad, man.
It's sad. But these are the conversations. Why don't you have a financial plan for your life? Why don't you have money conversations? But you see, the banks don't do that. Even the banks would hire these guys to come and sell the product. And the guy itself doesn't use the product. You see how the irony in it? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the thing with Nigeria is just about being cool, isn't it? And that is such an insightful thing that you've just said, because one of the things I've noticed with Nigeria, like not just from a product point of view, but from a policy point of view. But we overshot our time already, so we should be running. Yeah. we should be rounding up. No, we're definitely having you back on the show. Definitely having you back. But I just wanted to say something. One thing that struck me from what you said is design. Is a product design and policy, and also policy design. It's an example for our policymakers, really. Because in Nigeria, when we design policies, we don't design it to incentivize.
For the people.
Yeah, we don't design it to get people to do what we want them to do. We design it to either mandate them to do it. But if you design a policy and you put incentives that get people to do what you want them to do, Give them incentives. Let it be that, it's something to brag about. It's something to be proud of. People will do it on their own. You will spend less manpower.
Always very short-term targets or very shallow targets, not stuff that can sustain itself
very
over
academic.
a period of not sustainable solutions, basically.
Yeah, very academic.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I've always thought I can't go into politics because they won't like me. I remember that I was in a meeting. I think I've shared this story many times. And it was when we went into recession the last time, and I was still very at the core of my economics journey.
Yeah.
So there was a government conversation where the government called a few economists to create the Economic Growth and Recovery Plan, that document that you all heard about, ERGP.
Yeah.
So I was in the room, and I went there with a lot of hope and belief. And I was like, yes, we're gonna fix Nigeria. Let's go. Let's gonna do this. I was hearing that they're gonna pay for your tickets and there's gonna be Estacode. And I was like, yo, me, I'm coming. I'm already on my way to the airport right now. Like, let's go. Me, I don't need the money. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized why they were paying for everything. So when we got into the room, the first question was, what's going to be our target for GDP for end of 2019? Remember that at this point we're in recession and we're at minus 2% GDP. And one of the most famous economists in Nigeria was the one that answered and said 7%. When you're the youngest economist in the room and you feel you're not going to say anything, and you thought you were just going to watch the gurus, do their thing, and you're just going to listen. I was at the other side of the room and I shouted, how? I said, when something hits you and you didn't expect it, you should have decorum, because, all these people are like government officials, senior economists. I was like, how? How do we go from -2 to 7? We've never even done 7 before. And then we started this back and forth, and me and the chairman of one bank started a back and forth. And that day I lost respect for all of them because I just realized they didn't know as much as I thought they did.
Wow.
The chairman of chairman, or not MD, chairman of a bank. But by the time I left the room that day, we just spent the day arguing. We didn't move forward that day. We didn't do anything because of me.
Wow.
We were arguing from beginning to end. I argued with every point. I couldn't believe they were thinking that way. It's those kind of things that you see on Twitter. You're wondering who thought of this thing. It's the very intelligent people. Wow. You would just believe we were arguing for hours. I said, what? How can you say this? Then we go to the next point. After one point, I'm like, maybe it's me that doesn't understand this one. Let's go to the next point. Then the next point, we start argument again. I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense.
What's going on?
We were talking about refineries of NNPC then. And when we just started the conversation, I was like, you guys, my thoughts are simple on this. The country should sell these refineries. Somebody that was a representative from the NNPC was like, no, that they have investors lined up to invest in the refineries. I'm like, yo, those refineries are older than me. Who is going to invest in archaic technology? It's
and the world is and the world is moving fast away from crude oil as well. When are we?
No, even leave the fact that the world is moving fast away from technology. It's the fact that technology is just such a. So I went to Boa Cement's opening, their cement launch opening in AWABAH. They have a 3 million ton cement plant there. Now, the amazing thing about this 3 million ton plant is that there's one humongous entity on one side of a big sparse of land. That was the one we're launching. So that's 1.5 million metric tons. And then there's something on the side that looked like it's car park. So I was talking to the guys and I was like, yo, when are you guys going to start building the second phase? They were like, they've built it. It's just that they want to launch this first before they launch the second one. So I was like, where is it? It's like, that is it. They have the same exact capacity, but one was far ahead in terms of technology.
Yeah. So it was much smaller.
So much more smaller and still did the same capacity in terms of cement production.
Wow.
So imagine a refinery that was built before I was born. Before I was born. And then a refinery that will be created today. You know that in terms of efficiency, I mean, Aliko Dangote's refinery just shows you that single one is all the ones we have in Nigeria combined, and it's even producing far more. And that's just one. We have one in Kaduna. We have one in we have 4 across the country, Abi.
Yeah. Well, I think Warri,
Port Harcourt.
That single Aliko. That single Aliko's own is the installed capacity of all of them, but all of them are doing 50% capacity. Just think about the difference. So when I was having this conversation with this guy, I couldn't believe that anybody would tell me that somebody was bringing investors. But you see, at this point, I can't tell him he's lying because he came to a high-level delegation meeting and said, investors are coming. So I was like, okay. Next topic.
Wow.
By the time the economic growth and recovery document came out, I wasn't shocked that it failed. I knew it was going to fail before it was released. I knew it was going to fail right there on the deliberation table, and I was telling every one of them.
Makes sense. Wow. Well, on that note, then I think we'll bring this to a close. But listen, it was an amazing session.
Yeah, it was a fantastic session. Yeah,
you definitely have to promise now that when we call you again, I know you are getting busier, and we will. You know what? I'll walk around you, even if you can't do it Sunday.
No,
we'll walk around you, but you have to come back again because this was amazing. This was
a great session.
I will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tunji. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Everybody that is going to watch this or watching this, thank you very much for also watching.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. And that's finished from me now, Jibril and Tunji. Thank you so much, everyone.